stretching across the entire northern one-third of the African continent. The Sahara Desert is a vast, sun-scorched expanse of monumental proportions, covering more than 9.2 million square kilometers, or roughly 3.6 million square miles. This colossal wilderness is roughly the same size as the entire United States or the continent of China. It spans across 11 sovereign nations, from Mauritania and Morocco on the Atlantic coast, through Mali, Algeria, Niger, Tunisia, Libya, and Chad, all the way to Egypt, Sudan, and Eritrea along the Red Sea. Yet, contrary to popular imagination, the Sahara is far more than an endless sea of rolling golden sand dunes. In reality, shifting sand dunes, known as ergs, comprise only about 20% of its total surface area. The remaining 80% consists of windswept gravel plains, known as reg. Barren bedrock plateaus, called hamada, vast salt flats, jagged canyons, and towering volcanic mountain ranges where peaks, such as Mount Kusi in the Tibesti Mountains, surge to elevations over 3,415 meters above sea level. Beneath its searing, hyper-arid surface lies a land of astonishing contrasts, ancient geological mysteries, forgotten prehistoric civilizations, and dynamic ecological cycles that influence weather systems across the entire globe. The ancient roots of the Sahara reach back tens of millions of years into deep geological time. During the Mesozoic era and early Cenozoic era, long before human beings walked the earth, vast portions of North Africa were submerged beneath the prehistoric Tethys Ocean, a massive warm sea that separated the ancient supercontinents of Gondwana and Laurasia. As continental drift shifted the African tectonic plate northward into the Eurasian plate, the Tethys Ocean gradually closed and receded, leaving behind monumental layers of marine sediment, limestone, and fossilized sea life. Today, in the heart of the Egyptian desert, roughly 150 kilometers southwest of Cairo, lies Wadi Al-Hitan, or the Valley of the Whales. In this barren, wing-carved desert valley, paleontologists have uncovered hundreds of pristine 40-million-year-old fossil skeletons of Basilosaurus and Dorudon, ancient predatory whales that possessed vestigial hind legs, providing dramatic physical proof that modern desert sands were once the floor of a thriving prehistoric ocean. As tectonic collisions lifted the African continent and altered atmospheric circulation patterns, the climate of North Africa began a dramatic sequence of transformations. Approximately 7 million years ago, as the precursor to the Mediterranean Sea shrank, the moisture supply to North Africa dropped significantly, initiating the first cycles of aridification. However, the Sahara has never been a static, permanent wasteland. Instead, it operates on a rhythmic climate pulse, driven by Earth's Milankovitch cycles. Every 20,000 to 23,000 years, cyclical variations in Earth's orbital tilt and axial precession alter the amount of solar radiation, striking the northern hemisphere during the summer months. When summer solar radiation peaks, the intense heating of the North African landmass pulls the African monsoon system northward from the tropical Atlantic Ocean, transforming the barren desert into a fertile, green paradise. The most recent of these lush transformations occurred during the African humid period, which began around 11,000 BC and lasted until approximately 4,000 BC. During this era, often celebrated as the Green Sahara, the landscape was unrecognizable from the hyper-arid wilderness seen today. Torrential seasonal monsoons nourished sprawling grasslands, dense savannas, meandering river systems, and acacia woodlands. Magnificent lakes dotted the landscape, none larger than Mega Lake Chad, an inland freshwater sea that covered an astounding 350,000 square kilometers, making it larger than all 5 North American Great Lakes combined and deeper than 160 meters in places. Fossil records show that hippopotamuses, Nile crocodiles, elephants, giraffes, lions, antelopes, and giant catfish thrived across territories that are now completely devoid of surface water. This vibrant environment became a cradle of prehistoric human innovation. Between 9000 BC and 5000 BC and 5000 BC, early hunter-gatherers, fishermen, and pastoralists migrated across North Africa and the Levant corridor connecting into Palestine, modern-day Israel, establishing flourishing settlements along the shores of Saharan lakes and rivers. These ancient peoples domesticated wild cattle, engineered some of the earliest ceramic pottery in human history, and recorded their daily lives through astonishing rock art. On the sandstone plateaus of Tassili Najjour in southeastern Algeria, over 15,000 individual prehistoric rock engravings and paintings depict vibrant scenes of herders tending cattle, warriors dancing, hunters pursuing wild game, and mystical anthropomorphic figures. In the remote Gilf Kibir Plateau in southwest Egypt, the famous Cave of Swimmers preserves 10,000-year-old pigment paintings of human figures gliding through water, offering unmistakable evidence that humans once swam where not one single drop of rain may fall for decades at a time. Today, around 4000 BC, a gradual shift in Earth's axial tilt weakened the northern reach of the African monsoon. Rainfall declined, temperatures soared, and the dense vegetation that held the topsoil in place began to wither. In a process that took less than 1,000 years, the fertile savannas collapsed into hyper-arid desert. Lakes shrank or evaporated entirely, leaving behind barren salt pans and colossal sand dunes. Faced with rapid ecological collapse, human populations were forced to abandon the interior Sahara. In a massive environmental migration, pastoralist tribes retreated south toward the Sahel Belt or east toward the life-giving floodplain of the Nile River. This sudden concentration of agricultural knowledge, social organization, and manpower along the banks of the Nile served as the primary environmental catalyst that sparked the rise of dynastic ancient Egypt around 3100 BC. Today, the Sahara is one of the most extreme and unforgiving environments on Earth. High atmospheric pressure systems create descending, dry air that prevents cloud formation, allowing unfiltered solar radiation to bake the terrain. During the summer months, daytime temperatures routinely exceed 50 degrees Celsius, or 122 degrees Fahrenheit, with ground surface temperatures surpassing 70 degrees Celsius, or 158 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1922 AD, a weather station in El Azoujia, Libya, recorded a surface air temperature of 58 degrees Celsius, or 136.4 degrees Fahrenheit, which held the world record for 90 years. Yet, because the dry air cannot hold thermal energy, nighttime temperatures plummet dramatically, often dropping by 30 to 40 degrees Celsius in a span of just 12 hours, plunging below 0 degrees Celsius during winter nights. In hyper-arid regions, such as the Libyan desert, average annual rainfall measures less than 25 millimeters, and some locations experience zero measurable precipitation for over 10 consecutive years. Despite these punishing conditions, life in the Sahara has evolved breathtaking physiological and behavioral adaptations to survive. The dromedary camel, introduced to North Africa in the first millennium BC, is an evolutionary masterpiece engineered for extreme aridity. A camel can travel for up to 15 days without drinking one single drop of water, losing up to 30% of its total body mass in moisture, without suffering organ failure, a deficit that would kill any other mammal in less than 3 days. Its distinctive hump stores up to 36 kilograms of energy-dense fat, which insulates its back from direct sunlight and yields metabolic water when processed. Specialized kidneys concentrate urine into a thick syrup. Nasal turbinates trap exhaled moisture, and 2 rows of interlocking eyelashes shield its eyes from blinding sandstorms. Other desert inhabitants display equally extraordinary biological ingenuity. The Saharan silver ant is one of the most thermotolerant land animals on the planet, possessing triangular hairs with unique optical properties that reflect 90% of solar radiation while radiating excess heat into the atmosphere. These tiny insects emerge from their burrows during the hottest part of the day for just 10 minutes at a time to scavenge heat-succumbed insects before their own internal temperature reaches a lethal 53.6 degrees Celsius. The fennec fox, the smallest canid in the world, weighing less than 1.5 kilograms, features oversized 15-centimeter ears filled with dense blood vessels that radiate body heat into the air, functioning as natural air conditioners while allowing the predator to hear. Beetles and lizards burrowing deep beneath the sand. Meanwhile, desert antelopes, such as the addax and the Dorcas gazelle, have adapted so thoroughly that they rarely need to drink liquid water at all, extracting 100% of their necessary hydration from the moisture found in night-blooming succulents and morning dew. Beneath this parched surface hides one of the largest freshwater reserves on the planet. The Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System, spanning across 2 million square kilometers under Egypt, Libya, Chad, and Sudan. is the largest known fossil water aquifer system in the world, formed over 100,000 south of years during prehistoric wet periods. This subterranean reservoir holds an estimated 150,000 cubic kilometers of pristine ancient groundwater trapped deep within porous sandstone rock formations. In 1984 AD, Libya began construction on the Great Man-Made River, a massive $25 billion civil engineering project comprising over 4,000 kilometers of buried concrete pipes, each measuring 4 meters in diameter, pumping billions of liters of fossil water daily from 1,300 deep desert wells. The network transports fresh water over 1,000 kilometers north to supply drinking water and agricultural irrigation to coastal cities including Tripoli and Benghazi. The desert also preserves geological anomalies, so monumental they can only be fully appreciated from orbit. In west-central Mauritania, rising out of the windswept sands of the Adra Plateau, lies the legendary Rikhtat structure, widely known as the Eye of the Sahara, spanning an astonishing 40 kilometers in diameter. This deeply eroded geological dome forms a series of concentric circular rings that resemble a giant bullseye when viewed from space. Early astronauts in the Gemini and Apollo programs used the structure as a primary visual landmark to orient their spacecraft during Earth orbit. While early geologists hypothesized that the formation was caused by a massive meteorite impact, modern geochemical analyses indicate that it is an eroded magmatic dome formed approximately 100 million years ago during the Cretaceous period, where molten rock pushed upward, fractured the overlying sedimentary strata, and was gradually stripped away by millions of years of wind and water erosion. Human civilization has maintained an unbroken presence across the Sahara for millennia, overcoming extreme geography through ingenious technology and trade networks. In the first millennium BC, an indigenous Berber civilization known as the Garamantes established a powerful agrarian kingdom in the Fezzan region of southwestern Libya to sustain agriculture in the middle of the desert. The Garamantes engineered an elaborate underground irrigation network consisting of more than 5,000 kilometers of hand-dug subterranean tunnels, known as fogaras, by tapping into subterranean water tables and directing water via gravity toward valley oases. The Garamantes cultivated wheat, barley, dates, and grapes, building fortified mud-brick cities such as Garama and dominating regional trans-Saharan trade routes for over 1,000 years until their fossil water table was eventually depleted. Around 500 AD, during the Middle Ages, the Sahara became a vibrant economic superhighway, linking the resource-rich empires of West Africa with the Mediterranean and Islamic worlds. Indigenous nomadic Berber groups, most notably the Tuareg, known as the Blue Men of the Sahara because of their indigo-dyed taggle musk veils that stained their skin, commanded trade routes spanning 1,000s of kilometers. Caravans consisting of up to 10,000 camels traversed treacherous desert trails, guided exclusively by celestial navigation, wind patterns, and subtle changes in sand grain textures. The primary commodities powering this trade were gold, rock salt, ivory, and books. At desert mining settlements such as Togaza and Taudeni in northern Mali, miners extracted pure slabs of rock salt from dried prehistoric lake beds. In sub-Saharan kingdoms, where salt was scarce, 1 kilogram of Saharan salt was routinely traded for 1 kilogram of pure gold. This lucrative trade fueled the rise of wealthy West African empires, including the Ghana, Mali, and Songhai empires. In 1324 AD, Mansa Musa, the legendary ruler of the Mali Empire, embarked on his historic pilgrimage to Mecca, leading an entourage of over 60,000 people, including 12,000 attendants and 80 camels, each carrying up to 135 kilograms of pure gold dust. As Mansa Musa traversed the Sahara and arrived in Cairo, he distributed so much gold to the poor and purchased so many goods that he single-handedly depressed the price of gold across the Middle East for over 12 years. The wealth generated by trans-Saharan trade transformed oasis cities like Timbuktu, Chinguetti, and Walata into world-renowned centers of Islamic scholarship. Housing university libraries with over 300,000 handwritten scientific, mathematical, and astronomical manuscripts, the Sahara Desert's environmental influence extends far beyond the borders of North Africa, playing a vital role in regulating the climate and biodiversity of the entire planet. Every year, powerful convection currents and howling desert winds, known as the Al-Hitan and the Sirocco, lift over 182 million tons of mineral dust into the upper atmosphere. This immense plume, known as the Saharan air layer, travels more than 5,000 kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean. When this mineral-rich dust settles over the Amazon River basin in South America, it deposits an estimated 22,000 tons of phosphorus annually, replenishing critical soil nutrients washed away by torrential tropical rains and keeping the Amazon rainforest lush and fertile. Furthermore, Saharan dust clouds reflect solar radiation back into space and introduce dry, stable air over the central Atlantic, effectively suppressing the formation and intensity of tropical hurricanes before they can reach the Caribbean and North American coastlines. In the 21st century AD, the Sahara represents both a battleground against global climate change and a frontier for clean energy. Along the desert's southern boundary, the semi-arid Sahel region faces escalating desertification caused by prolonged droughts, overgrazing, and shifting weather patterns. To combat this ecological crisis, 11 African nations, under the leadership of the African Union, launched the Great Green Wall Initiative in 2007 AD. This ambitious environmental project aims to plant a living barrier of drought-resistant trees, shrubs, and sustainable agricultural plots stretching 8,000 kilometers across the entire width of Africa, from Senegal on the Atlantic to Djibouti on the Red Sea. Spanning a width of 15 kilometers, the project seeks to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land, capture 250 million tons of carbon, and create 10 million green jobs by 2038. Simultaneously, the Sahara's intense solar irradiance is being harnessed to generate clean electrical power for millions of people. In south-central Morocco, on the edge of the desert near Ouarzazate, sits the Noor Solar Complex, one of the largest concentrated solar power plants in the world. Covering over 3,000 hectares, the facility utilizes 1/100,000 seconds of curved parabolic mirrors and a towering 243-meter solar tower to focus solar rays onto molten salt tanks. Storing thermal energy in liquid salt at temperatures over 560 degrees Celsius, the plant generates up to 580 megawatts of continuous electricity, supplying carbon-free power to over 2 million Moroccan citizens, even hours after the sun has set over the dunes. Looking forward into deep time, the story of the Sahara is far from finished. Climatologists and orbital dynamicists, calculating Earth's Milankovitch cycles, project that the natural wobble of Earth's axial tilt will return the African monsoon northward in roughly 15,000 AD. When that astronomical alignment arrives, the searing sand dunes, gravel plains, and rocky plateaus will once again receive torrential rains, transforming the Sahara back into a lush savanna teeming with freshwater lakes, flowing rivers, and thriving wildlife. From its prehistoric origins beneath ancient seas to its modern role as a global ecological engine, the Sahara Desert stands as a monumental testament to the dynamic, cyclical nature of our living planet, reminding us that even the most formidable wastelands on Earth are merely passing chapters in a grand, ever-changing planetary story.